let's set this up. So for lunch today, I went to Publix to get a chicken tender sub.
I love how you're looking into the camera.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
They're great. Seth's like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to go get a sandwich. I was like, I know it is a great idea. He goes down there and he comes back with a spinach wrap. Seth, explain yourself.
Before he explains himself, you have to explain the part where he was sitting in Jeff Hart's chair and just staring at you while you
I didn't notice the staring.
ate the sandwich.
I'm used to it.
You took a side bite. I was concerned for you. I was concerned at how you were eating that sandwich.
It's because the sub has a lot of width to it, so you take some of that off. That way you get a cleaner bite.
I was not concerned about the initial side bite. I was concerned about you taking a second side bite.
That damages the structural integrity of the sandwich, which you don't want.
I legit thought you were eating a sandwich that was meant to be ate long ways, sideways, and I was starting to get really concerned that you were
I'm glad you were
sociopath.
concerned, but trust me, I've eaten. Look at me. Do I look like somebody who hasn't had enough sandwiches to know how to eat one?
You're not the get this kid a sandwich
right,
kid.
I know. Listen, trust me. I know how to eat a sandwich. There's not many things in life.
I was intrigued by your strategy, and I approve of it.
There's not many things in life.
Therefore, you went to get a spinach wrap.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Yeah, let's go on back to the wrap.
Will you leave the spinach wrap alone, please?
Welcome to Access Sports Weekly here on AccessWDUn.com. Bo Wilson beside Caleb Hutchins and our producer, who has his own little camera, Seth Chapman. Welcome, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching, and you too.
So, since we've kind of started recording this 2 hours ago, it is Thanksgiving. So, since everybody here in this room likes to eat, some like spinach wraps, but it's Thanksgiving. So who's going to gorge themselves today on spinach wraps?
Oh, well, I was about to put my hand up, but I had to take it back down.
It looks like it's going to be me since we haven't let the spinach wrap thing go yet.
At least you've owned up to it.
I will. I'll own up to the spinach wrap.
So what's your favorite Thanksgiving meal?
Oh, I mean,
or dish, I should say.
I mean, what's the favorite dish? I mean, the turkey's pretty hard to beat. How do you do the turkey?
Fried.
Yeah, that's how I go.
I was about to say, anything else is not acceptable.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Fry that baby up.
Dressing, I could eat. Honestly, I could eat dressing for a meal.
Now, do you like chunks of turkey in your dressing or just straight up dressing?
I can go either way. I do like the turkey in the dressing.
I do too.
That is pretty good.
I like that.
I will say I also need sweet potatoes at the Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah. Do you like your dressing kind of drier, on the drier side, or on kind of the wetter side?
It needs to be a happy medium.
Yeah, happy medium. Like you don't want soup there.
No.
You know, but it needs some form and some consistency, but you do want it to have a little moisture to it. A little,
because you do have to take the gravy in count too. You're going to put gravy on it.
I don't put gravy on the dressing.
You don't put gravy on the dressing?
I just eat the
what do you put the gravy on?
I'm going to shock both of you. Not a big gravy fan.
This podcast or webcast is over.
No,
I'm just
it's
kidding.
really not.
I'm
But
just kidding. So you're not a gravy fan in Thanksgiving or a gravy fan, period?
Period.
So you don't like gravy and biscuit?
No, I don't.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of it.
Shocking revelations on today's Access Sports Weekly. So, do you like cranberry sauce with your? No,
So it's all right. Yeah. It's all right. I can do with or without it.
Okay, so your favorite dessert dish on Thanksgiving?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I'm going to go a little surprising here. I really like just a good pound cake. That's very good.
Brooke's making Gorilla Bread.
Nice.
That's probably like my favorite all-time dessert that she makes.
Mine is I like a sweet potato pie. I like a pecan pie. So,
everybody a fan of classic apple pie?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Good.
Get a slice of that with some ice cream, just some vanilla ice cream.
So good.
Perfect.
So good. All right, so now that we've got our Thanksgiving meal and we're all hungry again, except for Seth, he had a spinach tortellini earlier.
Tortellini.
Here we are in the first week of the Georgia High School Association State Playoffs. It is technically week number 13, and we've made it, Caleb.
Yeah.
Seth, we have made it.
We're here. We're in the playoffs. We didn't think we would be here, but we are.
And it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, it's been great. It's been so good. We've had a couple of programs this year, namely Cherokee Bluff and Lakeview Academy, who are making it to the playoffs for the first time, and getting to see those programs and those kids be a part of that. I mean, that's what high school football is all about, and that's the kind of stuff that we wouldn't have been able to see if not for the efforts of the GHSA and all the various school systems who made sure that we put teams on the field this fall.
So let's take a trip back in time to, let's say, August, when things were kind of a little bit unknown. Georgia High School, though, they've remained steadfast in trying to get the season going. They delayed it a couple weeks, and then, summer basically was not the summer that all these programs were used to. So a lot of coaches, a lot of programs had to use first few games as maybe spring practice or OTAs or summer camps because they didn't get those. So they had to learn on the fly this year. And I think that's kind of a thing that might be part of the headline of the 2020 football season is learning on the fly.
Yeah, a lot of teams had to do it. And, even the programs who were veteran and experienced had to learn to do it because you might have a game where, a couple of your key players are out due to COVID quarantines. And, so teams have had to adapt to that on the fly. You might have to forfeit a game here. You might have a game forfeited to you the day of the game or something crazy. So everybody has had to learn to be ultra flexible. And they've done it, and we've done it for the most part. There are some programs that I know have, some programs have been impacted more than others. We knew that was going to be the case, but everybody has adapted and everybody has played every game that they possibly could. And, we've had a lot of teams who have had some adversity this year who got through it. I mean, look at the way White County's playing right now. I mean, it's a lot of teams could have very easily folded up the tent after what White County went through earlier this year, but they have firmly bounced back and they're playing their best ball right now. So yeah, it's been fun to watch these teams work through this stuff.
It has been fun to watch it, and we finally get here to week 1 of the high school playoffs, but let's put to bed week 12 first. A lot of interesting action in week 12. Some of the action that we thought would happen, we didn't think it would turn out the way it did. Mainly the Buford-Dacula game, in my opinion, was a game that I thought was going to be a much closer game, and instead Buford's defense just imposed its will on Dacula and shut them out 35-0.
Yeah, we knew Buford's defense was good. They really put it on display Friday night. And their offense, too, by the way. Well, we get to this point every year, and we're usually talking about Buford's defense. Very rarely are we talking about their offense, but they're putting up good numbers right now offensively. And I know they scored 35, which, talking about big offensive numbers, 35 doesn't look particularly impressive, but I think Buford could have scored 50 in that game had they wanted to. I mean, it looked... it seemed like they took their foot off the gas. If they had needed to put up more points in that game, I don't think there's any doubt they could have.
No, I think they could have put more points up at the game. And the way they began the game, going up 21-0 and just knocking Dacula backwards was interesting because that game was really billed as one of the bigger games at the state on Friday. And it ended up being I'm going to say a blowout because –
I'd say 35 points. Yeah, that's a blowout.
And you look what they did. They held them to less than 200 yards to total offense. And one of the other key things about Buford going into the playoffs is we know that they always talk the Buford way, which mainly is a rushing attack and very good defense. Well, they're becoming more and more balanced. They have a two-quarterback system with Dylan Whitkey and Ashton Daniels. That they rotate in and out. And then, of course, they've got the rotation of running backs, Victor Venn, Gabe Irvin Jr., Eli Parks was in there as well. And so you look at the final stats of that game, 200 yards passing, 214 yards rushing. Very balanced attack for Buford.
That's a balance statistically that we don't normally see out of them. And I agree with what you said about the two-quarterback system is, most teams don't run a two-quarterback system. A lot of people think if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any. But, when it comes to offense and this time of the year, you do what's working. That's what you do, and right now what Buford is doing is absolutely working for them. They're getting great numbers on the running game and the passing game. So they have found their sweet spot offensively, and if they can stay in that through the rest of the playoffs, they're going to be tough to deal with. That defense is going to give them a shot against anybody they play.
No doubt.
It doesn't matter who. When you're playing defense the way Buford is right now, you're going to have a shot in every single game. Yes,
and Buford may just be hitting the stride right now as they head into their first ever Class 6A state playoffs. This is their first year in Class 6A. Now, another game that was very interesting, North Hall, Dawson County. That one, another final game of the year for them, another game battling for a home playoff spot, and North Hall just took it to the Tigers.
Let's talk about defense for a second.
Mm-hmm.
North Hall's defense, I mean, holding Dawson County to 7 points in the first half. Dawson County got a couple of touchdowns late in the game, but North Hall's defense basically shut Dawson County's offense down through most of that ball game. And I think the offense did about what we expected them to do. I kind of thought this might be a game that would potentially be a shootout. I thought this might be a 38-34 type of game. Well, it turned out to be 34-21, and that was, holding them to 21 doesn't really, speak to how well North Hall played defensively in that game. Dawson County, after the middle of the second quarter, Dawson County was never really back in that game. I mean, I think it was a 2-score game at one point, middle of the third quarter, and then North Hall scored to put it away. But Dawson County never got back within striking distance of them again. And what a bounce back, too, from North Hall. Coming off of that game last week with Cherokee Bluff where looked like they were going to take the lead into the locker room. They end up losing by 17. The wheels could have come off for a young team, but they bounced back, and now they've got a home playoff game at the Brickyard, and that makes historically, that makes a huge difference for that program.
So you talk about the Trojans' defense against Dawson County. Dawson ran close to 70 plays in that game. So that makes it even more impressive.
Yeah.
The defensive performance that North Hall put on, and the amount of yardage and offense that Dawson had, you can look at that and say, well, they should have been in the game. But they really weren't ever in the game.
Well, here's the thing about defense in modern football, is it's changed. You don't consider a shutdown performance. You don't expect to come into a game and hold a team to 110 yards of total offense. It happens occasionally, but it doesn't happen much anymore. Being a great defensive team is about being really good defensively in the red zone, forcing turnovers, and keeping points off of the board. Quite frankly, it's not about yards; it's about points nowadays. And by that measure, North Hall did a phenomenal job against the Dawson County offense that is really, really good. That Dawson County offense, we've seen them shred some good defenses earlier in the year. To see North Hall do that Friday night, they have grown up so much from the start of the year to now. I think this could be a really, really dangerous Trojans team next year, especially.
Definitely. They're
dangerous right now.
No, they are dangerous. I would say the most improved team in our area. Now, White County and Bluff, in a game that apparently got very chippy in the third quarter. But White County, wow. A big win.
Yeah, that's about the only thing you can say is wow. We knew this was going to be a big showdown of two really good teams, but none of us expected that outcome.
No.
And White County, I think, came down there with something to prove. You talked about it getting chippy. I think White County had a chip on their shoulder. You're talking about a team that we all thought early in the year was the front runner in Region 7-3A. J-Ben Haynes goes down. They lose two tough games by one possession each, which I don't think Cherokee Bluff owes anybody any apologies. I mean, they played the same teams and beat them. Right. But White County, I think, feels like if we had our guy at quarterback, things might have been different. No knock on Riley Stansel and the job that he did throughout the year, because I thought he played really, really well when he was in at quarterback for White County earlier this year. But it's not having J-Ben Haynes, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the program, at the helm. So I think White County has refocused now, and I think that they came down to Cherokee Bluff not knowing they couldn't change their playoff seeding, but I think they kind of wanted to send a reminder to everybody to, hey, remember how good we are.
But just think about White County against Dawson, pouring rain. J-Ben goes out. Riley's going in to score. Ball pops out. Yep. Fumble. Dawson jumps on top of it. That would have changed the game. Think about North Hall game. 5-yard offside penalty on a missed field goal. That would
have given White County another shot at the ball.
Another shot. So it wasn't like that White County, they didn't have their star quarterback, but they were still they are still a great football team.
Even without Javen Haynes, they're 2 plays away from being your region champs right now.
No doubt.
And like I said, no knock on Cherokee Bluff because they went out and played the same teams and beat them. And White County didn't make the plays in the fourth quarter and overtime to win those 2 games. Cherokee Bluff did. So Cherokee Bluff earned that region title, no question about it. But I think White County feels like that they maybe I feel like they maybe wanted a little more respect when they went down to Cherokee Bluff Friday night. Not saying that Cherokee Bluff didn't respect them, but saying that in terms of from everybody else on the outside that, hey, even though we're a 4 seed, we're really, really good. And they are. They proved it Friday night.
So White County, they'll end up being the 4 seed out of 7-3A. They'll get Rockmart in Region 6. And apparently Region 6, just looking across the board, is a pretty high-scoring region among their top 4. So that will be an interesting matchup, in the first round as they'll go on the road. But looking into the first round, Caleb, what intrigues you the most?
There are a couple. North Hall and North Murray is a game that really interests me. North Murray is a team similar to Dawson County in that they operate out of that spread. They can throw the ball really well. They're a high-powered offense. But we just saw North Hall come off of a game in which they really held that kind of offense down. So, North Hall, can they continue to play that well? The Brickyard is a tough place to win in November. Just always has been, and it still is now. Just ask Dawson County. So I really want to see how North Hall does against North Murray. I'll tell you another one I got my eye on. I do want to see how White County does at Rockmart because I think that's a winnable game for them, even though they're a 4 seed taking on a number 1 seed. But Rabun County's game is one that interests me because Haralson County, much like White County, is the best 4 seed in AAA. I would say that about Haralson County in AA. Haralson County is in a really, really tough region. This is not a typical first-round AA opponent for Rabun County. I still think Rabun County will win the game, but I do want to see how that game goes.
So, Gainesville Archer, does that interest you?
Yeah.
Any?
Gainesville's defense is playing lights out right now. Shut out North Forsyth on Friday night. I think really, we talked about their defensive struggles in the first half of the Lambert game earlier this year. But if you look at it, ever since that game, they have been lights out defensively. I mean, they with the exception of one quarter against Denmark, where Denmark kind of got the jump on them, even in that game, after that first quarter, they settled down and really shut Denmark down the rest of the game. So Gainesville's defense is playing so well right now that even though they're going to be an underdog when they head to Archer this week, I give them a shot just because if they can get a running game going, which they struggled to do against North Forsyth. They didn't really have a consistent running game. Nine Cheeks had 2 long touchdowns, but they weren't really able to string together drives. If they can do that against Archer, I think they win the game because of the way their defense is playing right now.
So a game that kind of interests me is Habersham Central going to Rome. I don't know how good Rome is. They're a 2 seed. Traditionally, Rome is a good football program.
By the way, how about Habersham Central last Saturday?
That was getting to
falling down 28-0 at Shiloh in the second quarter and coming back to win. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
That was a game that listening to you, you're like, okay, Habs in trouble, and then the offense comes on fire, and that's one of the reasons that game intrigues me is because can they take that momentum into the first round of the playoffs, travel to Rome, and perhaps upset Rome in the first round. So that's kind of why it intrigues me the most.
Well, Habersham is definitely, if I'm Rome, I really don't want to play a team that just had to play 2 must-win games in the same week because Habersham Central's coming in right now. From a mental standpoint, Habersham Central's locked in. And so, they're going to be dangerous for anybody.
All right, folks. Well, one of the parts of the show that we get to each week is we'll do it in order this week. Seth's picks. As Seth, he'll go back there, or he's already gone back there and dug around into the old highlight vault. What you got this week?
We got some great plays from the 3 games that we were able to go to this week. Great video. Shout out to all of our video folks, Kayla Martin and Lauren Hunter, and we just really appreciate everybody, and we got some awesome stuff for us this week. Here we go, guys.
Again, fantastic highlights from our highlight crew, our video crew. So always
good job, Seth.
Led by Seth
and
Chapman.
the two other people who help you out.
Yeah, Lauren and Caleb.
Yeah,
that's their names.
Yeah. So this week on our Gaining the Edge segment, which is already on the website, we got to throw this out there because Cam Robinson. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. I don't know if it's the first to happen in high school football in the state of Georgia. Probably not, but it's got to be one of two or three. Cam Robinson with 3 punt returns for a touchdown, dude. Have you ever heard of that?
Why'd they keep kicking to him? That's what I want to know.
If you watch Gaining the Edge, that is basically verbatim what Coach Cathcart said to me. He was just talking about he couldn't understand why they kept kicking to him.
After he's run 2 back to the house.
Hello.
I mean, honestly, I would just start faking punts. I'd just start going for it.
Coach
honestly,
mentioned
if he's going to take it back every time, I'll just go for it on 4th down.
Coach mentioned that it may not have even been that they kept kicking to him, that his play off the bounce was just that good.
Yeah.
Well, he was feeling
Insane.
it, right? So, I mean, I'm sure once you've returned 2 for a touchdown, even if it's not even if you've got defenders coming right down on you, you're probably saying, hey, I'm going to take a shot at it.
Hey, he also had a 59-yard rushing touchdown
that's
in a huge game.
Just icing on the cake.
So I wanted to throw that out this week.
Unbelievable.
Just unbelievable.
Unbelievable game from him.
Okay, now it's time to get to this week's
WilHart Team of the Week.
For some reason, Hart's name is still in the Team of the Week.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure why either.
We're still holding out hope for Jeff.
But we are hope. There's no hope. Okay, there is hope.
That was kind of dismal.
Only kidding, Jeffro. So this week, we have not discussed this. Normally, we kind of discuss it a little bit. So I'm just going to throw it out to you this week. We'll start with Seth. Who's your pick for Team of the Week?
Man. It's just a difficult pick this week. We haven't talked about it at all.
No, we haven't. That's why it makes it so much better.
I'm going to go with Buford. That's my pick this week.
You're going with Buford.
You're talking about a game that was billed as one of the best in the state, and Buford just clobbers Dacula for the region title.
Yeah, no doubt. No,
I bounced really between them and Commerce.
Yeah,
because Commerce with the big win over Lincoln County, first region title since '03. But just how impressive Buford looked in that win over Dacula. That's what did it for me.
I'm going to throw my pick out this week to the Trojans over at North Hall because they entered.
That's another good candidate.
They entered that game. They entered the game with injuries, not injuries, but quarantines. They entered it with a few key players out, a few key backup players out. Luke Brown was not kicking for them. So my vote this week goes to the North Hall Trojans.
That means you're the deciding pick, Seth.
Again? Why am I always the deciding pick?
You are.
Why is it always so much pressure?
There's not going to be a recount, and we're not going to do an audit. So let's roll.
You can't.
I'll go with Buford as well.
Okay, you can't mail the ballot in either.
I am
I'll go with Buford
outvoted
as well.
Buford.
How's it feel? It's happened to me twice this year.
The Buford team that I saw was just incredibly impressive. As always, Buford is incredibly impressive. But
Good.
I have to agree with Caleb that in a game that we thought would,
great choice.
that we thought would be a really,
Thanks for picking against me.
I'm not continuing my analysis. I'm not doing it.
Oh, that was okay. Congratulations.
Great pick, Seth.
Great pick. It is. It really is a great pick. Congratulations, Buford. You are this week's
WilHart Team of the Week.
And guys, that's a wrap for the show this week. Make sure you go to Access to check out all of the first round coverage of the high school football playoffs. Also, a full schedule is up on the website. If you want to check out some games you might want to go see. If you want to listen to some games on the air, we will have those for you. AM 550, Bluff hosting Lafayette, ever how you want to say it. North Hall hosting the Mountaineers of North Murray. And over on the lake, let me go back. 102.9 is North Hall, North Murray, and 94.5, the Lake, Gainesville, traveling over to Archer this week. And as normal, we have a little scrolling thing here somewhere in this area, right here, that has all of our contact information.
I think you're pointing too low. It's more
here.
There, yeah.
Okay, it's more like here
there
in this area. So, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. For Caleb, for Seth, I'm Bo. Enjoy the first round of the Georgia High School Association state playoffs.
Gobble, gobble.
Boo, boo, boo,
boo. Every time. In 3,
2,
1.
Welcome to Access Sports Weekly. Let's do it again.
Great.
Welcome
Bo.
to Access Sports Weekly. I'm Caleb Hutchins, joined by the guy who's supposed to host the show but can never get the intro right, Bo Wilson.
There's your intro.
There we go.